Hey, everybody. Welcome again to our podcast of the 10 strategies in this year's real estate market.
Yes.
We're up to, I think, number 4.
Yep.
So
Just
number
gonna keep it
4.
going.
So how to protect yourself in a transaction using contingencies via seller or buyer.
Yep.
So we'll start with the seller. There's not a lot of contingencies for a seller except for that main one if they're selling the current house to buy the next.
Yeah. So yeah, if you're a seller and you have your property listed, and like you said, your contingency is in order for you to buy the next property, you have to sell yours. So that's very important when you're representing the listing. When you're representing the seller, that you communicate that with the buyer's agent,
Right.
who's going to submit one on your listing, and then vice versa. Then you're gonna.
The triple whammy.
Yep, I call it the domino effect.
That's true.
Yeah, because I'm kind of dealing with something like that right now, where we have a listing, right, and he wants to relocate to California City, and we were negotiating with an offer, and that offer that we were negotiating with, they had to sell their property in Palmdale, and they were downsizing. They wanted to buy the mobile home that I have listed in Roseman, and that buyer that was buying that seller's property, I was like, hey, make sure that your seller knows, that buyer knows that
There's another one in the other
yeah.
side.
So that
Yeah.
imagine that's like the like the four whammy or
Right.
whatever, and unfortunately it didn't funnel through, but that's some of the things that we have to deal
Right.
with, and just got to keep it
And
going.
how you protected your seller was, we're not going to sell your house until you're good with your next house. So you're not going to be able to
100%.
close escrow. So most people say, well, I'm going to be without a house.
Right.
What about if I don't find something? No.
No.
You're not going to get kicked out of your house because you won't be able to close escrow until you're 100% sure it closes.
Exactly. And that's one of the things that we get asked that a
Right.
lot of times when we're on the listing side and the seller needs to sell and
Yep.
find a replacement home, that they're always very overprotective, like, hey,
Right.
are you sure? Like, yeah, it's on the MLS, and when we get an offer or when we submit an offer,
It'll be on the contract.
it'll be on there's a form that we fill out that
Yep.
states that in order for the transaction to go through, that we have to successfully sell his property in order for him to buy that replacement property.
So that's mainly the main contingency on the seller. So now the buyer side has a few.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah.
we ran a quick list. You mentioned inspections, appraisal, loan, title.
Exactly.
Those are the main ones.
Yes. Yeah, those are the main ones. Yeah. So typically they go in order, right? From the moment you submit your offer, the first one that we try to get hit out of the ballpark is the home inspection.
Right.
And as soon as the offer gets accepted and the buyer wires the EMD, we schedule the home inspection. And at the same time, we try to get the disclosures from the seller so that we can review them. And because there's a lot of
not
things.
a lot of hidden information that doesn't get disclosed. You want to find out right away.
Exactly. And then the home inspection will tell you a lot.
Right.
And then as far as home inspection goes, man, there's so many different types of inspections a buyer can do. Not just the general one is the home inspection, but they can also do plumbing, electrical, roofing. If there's solar panels, they can have that. If you notice something during the home inspection, like with the foundation that is kind of iffy, then you could hire someone to do. Oh man, yeah, you could spend thousands of dollars.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I always think that the home inspection is good unless you, like you said, you found something that's underlying that you have to hire a specialist for.
Yes. Yeah.
And then as far as those inspections, usually they give you about 10 days, depending on what you put in the contract. So
Right.
they have to be done pretty quick because you have to make a decision, and that's how you protect the buyer.
Right. Yeah. I think standard is 17 days. So it's 17 days for the home inspection, 17 days for the appraisal, and then 17 days for the loan. But as soon as we get that offer accepted, we try to get in there right away, because that way we're not like prolonging the escrow. We can negotiate right away and come up with a plan. If there are repairs that need to be done, get those handled right away at the beginning. And if it doesn't make sense, then we can cancel and go back to the drawing board and keep searching.
And you get your money back. So most people are afraid of losing money. The only money you lose is the money you spent on the inspections.
Yes.
But you get your deposit back from escrow because you cancel within that 17 days.
Yes.
period.
Yeah. That's really good. Yeah. A lot of buyers are like, well, am I going to lose my EMD? And no, you won't lose the EMD. The only way you'll lose that is if you're really deep into the transaction and you've already removed all your contingencies. Right. Then at that point, you could jeopardize losing your EMD.
So we got 17 days to get the loan approval, the appraisal done. So for buyers, this is how we protect you.
Yeah.
You don't lose your deposit like Chris just mentioned, as long as we do everything within the 17 days. And this is why we kind of push everybody at the beginning, because the sooner that you do that, the sooner we know what we need to do next.
Exactly.
Whether it's ask for negotiation, cancel, and move on to something else.
Yes, yeah. And we'll always try to make it work, I think, from both sides.
100%.
Because at the end of the day, whether you're a buyer or seller, we want to get them to the finish line. And, that's what we do.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, again, this is pretty standard procedure.
Yeah.
We're going over this because people kind of get scared sometimes about submitting an offer and them losing a deposit. So there is no risk when it comes to that. On the seller side, you protect them well by making sure that there's contingencies for them. So win-win for everybody.
Yes.
If you guys want more information on this, and if you guys want to help out, reach out to us to get you guys some help, make sure you reach out to Chris and myself.
Yep.
See you guys in the next one.
See you guys.